The pick is in for the Philadelphia Eagles. They have made a trade with the Chicago Bears, moving up from number 10 to number 9, and they are taking the Georgia all-world defensive lineman Jalen Carter with that selection, and we're breaking it down here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. It would not be possible to talk about this draft selection live here on the show if it wasn't for RexMD, our presenting sponsor. Head to rexmd.com/chat, the #1 leader in men's telehealth. We'll tell you more about them coming up around the corner. Same treatments, free consultation, faster delivery, and a great deal that we're going to tell you about here in just a few moments. But for Philadelphia, this is the pick that a lot of people had talked about. And on my personal big board, I wanted 2 players here for Philly in the first round with their first pick. It was either going to be Jalen Carter or Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson not made possible because the Atlanta Falcons took him at number 8, the highest drafted running back since Saquon Barkley went to the New York Giants. And for the Eagles here, at pick number 9, they get arguably the most dominant and best player in this draft class. If it wasn't for the character concerns, he would probably have gone number 1 or at least been a top 3 pick in this class. Wonderful size and athleticism at 6'3", 314 pounds. This is a player that opposing offenses are going to have to account for on every single snap. He can literally play every single position along that defensive line. And it fulfills a massive need for the Birds here because they lost Javon Hargrave in free agency to the San Francisco 49ers after Hargrave signed that 4-year, $84 million contract. So not only do you get a player who could become an even better defensive tackle than Javon Hargrave, you're paying him a fraction of the price, and you're teaming him up along this defensive line with another freak in Jordan Davis, who Jalen Carter played with at Georgia, and also played with Nakobe Dean, who figures to play that starting linebacker role, which was left vacant after TJ Edwards signed with the Chicago Bears. For Jalen Carter, an incredibly disruptive player who can cause havoc against opposing offenses. And he can play edge, he can play defensive tackle. I love the versatility that Sean Desai is going to be able to use him with. Also has some quality developed moves where he can be an immediate plug-and-play starter from day one. He does come to Philadelphia with some character concerns. Recent questions have surfaced after his arrest warrant and his pro day performance. The arrest warrant, he was caught speeding in addition to another car after the Georgia Bulldogs championship parade, in which 2 players died in that incident, a Georgia Bulldogs player as well as a staff member. And then at his pro day, Jalen Carter flunked it. He was falling around. He came in underweight. He cramped. He was out of breath. Those are concerns for Philadelphia. But why I think this can work and why I like the pick is that the Eagles have a sound culture. They have a locker room with a couple of guys who have been here for a decade or more. Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, and a couple of other pillars like Jalen Hurts and Darius Slay, where they're going to be able to bring in Jalen Carter to this culture, and they're going to be able to maximize him and get him on the right track. So with that, grade the pick for me down in the comment section, A, B, C, D, or F. The Philadelphia Eagles have gotten arguably the best player in this class at number 9 overall. React to it. Let us know what you think down in the comment section. More on Jalen Carter coming up, but first let's tell you about our sponsor, RexMD. Fellas, do you sometimes lack confidence in the bedroom? We've all had those nights where we get a little bit too nervous or maybe had too much to drink. There's nothing worse than not being able to put the stick shift in drive when you need it the most. But have no fear. RexMD is here, spreading cheer even when you have a few too many beers. RexMD, FDA approved, the most trusted leader in men's telehealth. They have sponsored today's Eagles Now, this pick of Jalen Carter, to help you always be prepared. RexMD has made it simple, easy, and cost-effective to help all the men out there last longer and feel more confident in the bedroom. RexMD makes getting generic Viagra and branded Viagra or Cialis very easy. Why? Everything's online, even the prescription. They deliver it discreetly discreetly to your door. No waiting rooms, no embarrassing trips to the doctor, no insurance, and no copays. So take advantage of their best deal they've ever offered and save up to 90% off and only pay $2 per dosage with our exclusive link. All you have to do, go to rexmd.com/chat for this limited time deal. Starter packs of generic Viagra or Cialis are now available for our listeners and our viewers to get started. That's rexmd.com/chat. For Carter, two-time national champion with the Georgia Bulldogs, exceptional play strength and body control to slip gaps. There's a lot of college production there for him as a defensive tackle. 10 games played as a freshman, 15 games played as a sophomore, 13 games played in 2022 with 9 starts. You look at the numbers that he put forward for the national champion Georgia Bulldogs: 32 tackles, 7 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 0 forced fumbles. The Athletic's Dane Brugler on Jalen Carter needs to continue growing in areas, but his block destruction is special because of combination and control, as well as his quickness and his power at his size of 6'3", 314 pounds, with 33-inch arms and a wingspan of 81 inches. He's young. Maturation isn't a guarantee, but he's arguably the most talented prospect in this draft with potential to develop into a top 5 player at his position in the NFL. This is the same Dane Brugler who had Jordan Davis as his number 2 defensive tackle last year. And now it's Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter as your starting defensive tackles, a combination that could be disruptive for this organization for the next 8 to 10 years. Now, please make sure you subscribe to the show here on Philadelphia Eagles Now, because I don't believe anybody is going as in-depth as we are on this draft prospect. Jalen Carter to the Birds, welcome to Philadelphia. As for how the draft order is played out here, it worked out in the favor of Philly, even though they needed to move up one spot in trading a 4th-round pick to do so with the Chicago Bears. If we can look at those trade details coming up around the corner. Bryce Young went off the board number 1. C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson to the Texans at 2 and 3. The Texans hitting it out of the park here. Anthony Richardson, surprise pick to the Colts at number 4. Shane Steichen gets his future quarterback. Devin Witherspoon went to the Seahawks at 5. That opened up the window for the Eagles to take Carter here. Paris Johnson, round 1, 6 overall. Tyree Wilson, the edge rusher to the Raiders. I thought that Carter was in play here because the Raiders have a massive need for defensive tackle. Our beloved son, Bijan Robinson, went to the Falcons at number 8, and then the Eagles move up to number 9. So this is why I like what the Eagles have done here. They get arguably the best player in this draft class, right? They moved up 1 selection, and all they had to do was give up a 4th-round pick in 2024. And they're giving up a 4th-round pick in 2024 when they have a bevy of selections in next year's draft. So Howie Roseman working his magic once again. Jalen Carter here. He was awful at his pro day. Like I said, he was slipping around. He came in overweight. There are maturity concerns here for Carter. But like I said, when you walk into a locker room, and he's emotional, taking the podium right now, meeting with Roger Goodell, he's crying. When you have guys like Jason Kelce, Lane Johnson, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Jalen Hurts, Darius Slay, if you walk in there and you mess around, you're playing with fire. You have an opportunity here to change your life, change your family's life, and to be one of the best football players in the National Football League. And he has all the makings of being one of the best football players in the NFL. You look at the Eagles' offseason profile here. After the draft, they're going to have to pay some of this $18 million to some of these draftees, but currently their cap space ranking 7th in the NFL. Some of their additions able to retain Jason Kelce, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham. They brought back James Bradbury, Rashad Penny, Darius Slay. They lost Javon Hargrave, and that's why Carter here is big. You lost Isaac Seumalo. I'm not concerned about them not going guard here, because they can get a very good guard later in the draft. By the way, Eagles and Cardinals settled some tampering charges in the hiring practice of Jonathan Gannon. So now the Eagles have 66 overall in the 3rd round. Kaiser White, TJ Edwards, Miles Sanders. They're out. Jalen Carter is in. So this is all pretty interesting here for Philadelphia here. And for Jalen Carter, he may have started 1 year, but he does have a lot of experience. And here is that trade that the Eagles and Cardinals made because of the tampering charges. The Eagles receive a third-round pick, 66 overall. And then they have a pick a couple of picks later. Cardinals receive a third-round pick in this year's draft, 94 overall, and then 2024 fifth-round pick. So the Eagles here, they still have pick number 30. We'll see what happens there. They go Jalen Carter 9th overall, and they still are equipped with another pick on the back end of this first round. And you get a guy here for the defending NFC champions who makes your football team better right now. That's why I like this pick, and we've been talking about this for a really, really long time. So who do you want the Eagles to draft next? Jahmyr Gibbs, anybody? You passed on Bijan Robinson, or at least you didn't get him because the Atlanta Falcons got him. You could get Jahmyr Gibbs at number 30. You could also get a safety, maybe an offensive lineman there. Everything is setting up pretty nicely for Philadelphia on night one of the NFL draft. Bird Gang, share your thoughts. Let us know what you think about this. It's Jalen Carter to the Eagles, 9th overall. I'm pumped up. I hope you're pumped up as well. Let me know how you're feeling down below in the comment section.